I've lived here most of my life. I grew up on the east side, so I understand what humble beginnings are like. I've worked hard most of my life, still work hard. But there's no question, growing up I learned a few things. And one of the things I've learned, as you've seen earlier people talk about, is what's it take to be successful? What's it take to make a difference? What have you done with the leadership you had? What have you provided and what have you performed? All very important questions when you run for office. A lot of people have desires and dreams, but I feel that when you run for office, you have to have a record of history, of accomplishments, things you've done. Abraham Lincoln said years ago, people of public service are people that have honed their skills, acquired success, and then in so want to give back to their community and their country and serve to help benefit others for the blessings they have. And there's no question that as we're here this Easter weekend, and we witnessed what went on last night with Donald Trump, which I still haven't gotten over, probably won't for a long time. As many of you, I'm sure, share. You know, where's our country going? But my focus now is what can I do for my community? What can I do where I live? I have 13 grandchildren here. Somebody has to step up and make a difference. So I tried to look at the things that were asked upon me, and one of them is, you know, what's your history? The history here is I had a mother and father that had a private business. I worked for my father. I worked hard as a young man. I worked 4 jobs when I was in high school. So I understand what it's like to not have much and take what you have and build on it. And I think that's where the county is. As a young man in high school, I was a volunteer fireman in 11th grade. So we talk about 11th grade. I did everything I could do to help serve others, to help others when they run away to run in. And I'm still a volunteer fireman. We did some amazing things. And I learned a lot by being a volunteer fireman. Actually, if you ask me, the volunteer firemen, at least within our community, are some of the best people there are. They do what they do to give to others. So in 1972, I went to work for my father. In 1979, I joined a corporation with my father. We became partners. We're just simple people. I was a carpenter building homes, and we changed direction. And Lawrence County's been good to us. We have a business here. We got the New Englander and the crane room that you people, many of you are familiar with. And the community supports us. We've invested here. We've taken our hard-earned money and invested here in our family and in your families because we love it here. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to do things. But what did you learn along the way? In 1986, I ran for public office and served 24 years in Neshannock Township. I appointed Mr. Vogler upon the death of another supervisor who served at the township. I'm always proud of my relationship with him. But I can tell you in that 24 years we did some amazing things. Still outstanding. #1 tax base. We were the largest growing community in population and in tax base by percentages in Eastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, second to Fox Chapel. Those are accomplishments. It wasn't that earth-shaking. So why am I here? I want to make a difference. I hear everybody talk about they want to create jobs, they want people to stay here, and those are 2 of the focuses I want to put in your mind. You have to create revenue, and you have to create the ability to increase population by having families move here. And if you have families move here, you have to make sure they have a place to make a living. Those are the essentials. If you can't accomplish those 2 simple things, we don't have a chance to change. But I can guarantee you one thing. If we don't change, it's only going to be less people. You're going to continue to pay more at all the government levels because there's nobody left but you. So if you don't grow the economy, you don't find the means to bring yourself up and find how to solve that, then we're not going to move ahead. I think over the years, I think this is a great place to live. My family's here. I've been here my whole life. I understand it. I got a great education here. And because that's why I wanted to run. I want to make a difference. So what's the most important issue in this county? You need to understand we're a commonwealth in Pennsylvania. There's only 5 in the country. We have 27 different governments in Lawrence County. You better be able to communicate with them all. As a township supervisor, I served at the county, the state, and the national level, representing township and boroughs across the United States and the state of Pennsylvania. I learned a lot of what it took to communicate, what it took to make a difference. How do we make things better to work together? If we can't find the means to create private and public partnerships, there will be no future. We're not in a good position. The trends, if you look at the trends over the last few years, we haven't accomplished much here. Population's decreased. Appraisals have decreased. Your income has decreased. Those trends have to change. Talked about data earlier. Look at the data. Look what has to change. If you don't change the revenue, if you don't bring families and people here, nothing will change. That I guarantee you. So I want to create public and private partnerships. I want to bring the various communities together to accomplish collective things. I want to utilize the political contacts I've made over the years that will help us accomplish that and get the funds and bring people together. I want to establish housing developments for new families that want to come here and live and work. It's essential. They have to want to come and live here and work. Right now, that's not happening. I want to work to create the synergy and a positive business climate for one family to make a living here at home and education for their children. We need to expand those public parks and recreation and assets for families. Families aren't going to move in unless they find the competitive things that make them want to live here. In the other areas around us, the other counties, north, south, east, and west, they're providing those. We need to step up and do more. We're in a competitive nature. We're not sitting here alone. I'm a visionary developer. I use my own money. I've invested in my community. I invested in my company. I invested in myself. I understand what it takes. I understand long-term vision. I have a history of commitment, like many others that come before me that show personal commitment to invest in the stability in the community. I have invested. I want to make a difference here. The county budget, which I was talking earlier with the table I was at, in the county that Danny's there, it's $82 million a year. It's not a small amount. 34% of that money comes from your property tax. Most of that money goes to the courts and the jails and domestic relations. He's right at one point. You hear a lot of people say the county doesn't really have a lot of authority. Municipalities and townships and boroughs control the judicial and legislative tools within your community. As a township, I learned a lot from that. And what I can tell you today as a county commissioner, you need to promote and you need to find the means to ignite and move ahead and find ways for people to come together with the assets we have in each of our variety of communities, and they're all different. We're not all the same. So you got to find out what can win, what can make a difference, and capitalize on that. If we can't do that, if we're going to continue to fight amongst ourselves, then we'll be looking out from the outside, from the inside out, and wonder what happened. We have to get past that. But saying that, I have that experience. I feel I have the history. If you want my resume, I have a copy here. It's a report on how you spent your time. It's a report on what you accomplished. As Danny said, he's been chairman of various things. I also have been in charge of many things. I listen to people. I've learned from people. I've learned from good days and bad days. No question. You have to adjust and adapt. But I leave you with this thought. And this is kind of who I am and why I stand before you today and ask for your support. And it's probably it has a lot to it, so I want you to think about it. The proper function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my days trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. Anybody know where that quote comes from? It's actually by a fellow named Jack Landon. It's the two quotes at the end of two James Bond movies. But it caught my attention to why I stand before you today. It's not because I need a job. I certainly, God has blessed me. I don't necessarily need the money. I want to make a difference. I want to serve. I want to take everything God blessed me with and try to help promote our area so my grandkids and family in the future have the opportunity they deserve, because this is a good place to live. It has great value. It has a great education system. Build on what we have that's positive. Find the means to work together to bring those 27 different entities together. I mean, that seems almost impossible. Ohio, the county's in charge of everything. They don't have what we have. So we're competing economic development and growth with Ohio that's coming here and talking to my tenants and business people. And I have business people all over the world, from Germany, from Canada, to England. And they tell me, these people all call them, trying to drag them out of here. I have to do what I have to do to keep them. But it's not an easy task. We can't afford to lose the jobs. It's just winning jobs. What are you going to do to get them? And how are you going to find a way to work with 27 different judicial legislative governments, with different people, with different assets, to bring them together, to change it, to make something happen that we can all benefit from. If one benefits, we all benefit. You can no longer think inside the fence is to give a fence around your home and it doesn't make any difference. We paid that price. If you look around, and when I drive through the city, I grew up here. I know what that city looked like. I know what it's like to walk from my home downtown. I don't feel that way. It doesn't look good. We can do better. I just ask for your support to help me have that opportunity to take what I've learned and help make Orange County better. So happy Easter to everybody, and God bless.